Revision of English book first flight. Let's start quick revision of chapters. Introduction of chapter. The author of the story, A Letter to God, is G.L. Fewens. He was one of the greatest writers of that time. He was a Mexican poet, novelist, and also journalist. The story revolves around the idea of having unquestionable faith in God. The story here is the one taking place in a Latin American country. Lencho, a farmer, who is the protagonist of the story, writes a letter to God. Letter, he seeks help from the Almighty as he discovers his entire crop yield has been destroyed by a devastating hailstorm. Although his wishes get fulfilled partially, if not completely, he remains ungrateful in the end. Moreover, he questions the honesty and modesty of the postmasters. However, these were the only beings who actually helped him with money, anonymously, in the name of God. Characters of story. Lencho, a poor farmer who lived on the peak of a low hill with his family. He was a firm believer of God. He was innocent, hopeful, caring, and responsible. Postmaster, a fat, amiable, friendly fellow who helped Lencho to retain his faith in God. He gave a part of his salary in the charity for Lencho on behalf of God. Post office employees, people who helped the Lencho on postmaster's call. They laughed at Lencho when they saw the letter but helped him in his need. Lencho called them a bunch of crooks. Value points of the story. Lencho was a farmer. His house was the only house in the valley and on the top of a hill. Lencho's fields needed rain for a good harvest. He looked expectantly at the sky, and it did rain at last. The drops of rain were like the coins for him. But his happiness was short-lived as very large hailstones began to fall after the rain. The hailstones destroyed all the leaves on the trees, plants, and flowers. There would be no crop that year. There was a single hope, help from God. On the following Sunday, he wrote a letter to God. He needed 100 pesos to sow his fields again and to live until the new crop came. He wrote to God on the envelope and put the letter into the mailbox. The postman laughed heartily and took it to the postmaster. The postmaster laughed too, but soon he became serious. He decided to reply to the letter and help Lencho. He collected 70 pesos only from his employees and himself contributed a part of his salary. He put the money in an envelope and posted it to Lencho. Lencho had an unbroken faith in God, and he was not surprised when he received the money. His happiness was turned into anger as there were 30 pesos short of the money. Lencho could never believe that God could ever deceive him. So, he wrote another letter to God reminding him that he received only 70 pesos sent by him. He asked God not to send the rest of 30 pesos through the mail as the post office employees were a bunch of crooks.